Aubrey, Compton, Norton. Comrade Aubrey, Compton, Norton.
Good evening, Lethem. Good evening, Rupanuni. It's a pleasure to be here again. From the time I became leader of the opposition, I went through this region at least 3 times, sleeping in villages, meeting people with the sole purpose of understanding the needs here. And when you look at our manifesto, you will see that the plan we outlined for indigenous people would have come from my interaction with you. We are going into one of the most critical elections. And I want to say something to you that happened today, or is about to happen. The government is seeking to change some polling places from public places like schools and community center on the coast to private residence owned by PPP members. We will oppose it. We disagree with it. They rig when it is in the public, much less when it is in their own private place. So I want to send a warning to them that it is unacceptable. Let me say to you that we have a deep concern. And that concern is the high level of poverty in this country. We should not accept a government that spends trillions of dollars and our people continue to be in poverty. It is unacceptable. If there is one reason we should vote them out, it's because the oil money isn't meeting the people of Guyana. We say to you, an APNU coalition government will ensure the money from oil and gas meet you. We will utilize it to improve your electricity here. In this modern world, electricity is critical. And we want to see the removal of the difference between the hinterland and the coast. And a lot of the things we will do will be aimed at ensuring people in the hinterland can live a similar life as people on the coast. The question becomes, how do we do it? We have already said we will link the 10 regions by highways. Imagine being able to travel from north to south in the Rupununi on proper roads. That is what we set out to do. We set out to ensure that we can do that. You are aware that the road that started from Linden was a project that we started. And we're saying to you, we want to see the entire Rupununi with roads that allow you to move from one end to the other. I heard Barry Jackdo came here and stood on the road that we built and said we never did anything. Such is a hypocrite. The man is a bare-faced liar. You are standing on a road that was built by the APNU and telling people the APNU did nothing. And we've got to be careful because they lie like that. What are we going to do? We believe that all Guyanese must have a quality life. And so we want to say this to you this evening and to the entire country. One of the things we will do as a government is to ensure that people who earn less than $300,000 to $400,000 a month get a free house lot. I want to repeat that for you. We commit to ensuring that any Guyanese above the age of 18, adult, who works for less than $300,000 to $400,000 will get a free house lot. You know, when we make these proposals, the first thing the government they say is that it can't happen. When we said we will give cash grant, they said no. They turn around and give it when they recognize they're in trouble. The president came here and announced a set of things after we would have said it. When we first said we will give pensioners $100,000, he said it's not possible. He now announced he can give, I think, 60 or 69. Our position is clear. We want to put people first. We want to empower you, the people. And how are we going to do it? We believe that education and training are important to your development. Why is it when there is a contract in the Rupununi, somebody has to come from the coast to implement that contract? That is because the system fails to train you to do it. And we're saying to you, we're going to have programs to train persons in the hinterland communities to improve their abilities so that they can get contracts. Like every other community in this country, you are entitled to become businessmen and women. And one of the easiest way to do that is for us to empower you so you can do construction, etc., and become contractors. And the law provides for it. The law provides for 25% of contracts to go to small contractors. We are going to create a core of small contractors in the hinterland that can carry out the work in the hinterland. We believe that that is critical. We are going to train young people to weld, mechanics, you name it. We want to see villages that have persons in them that can do all that the village needs. There is no reason why a mechanic has to come from the coast. You are human beings. You have brains. And once you are given the opportunity, you will be able to utilize the brain. And what we are saying to you is that we are going to give you that opportunity. The opportunity to develop your skills. The opportunity to develop yourselves. Nobody wants handouts. The PPP end up giving handouts and money here and there because their program is keeping you in poverty. Our program aim is to take you out of poverty. When you look at our manifesto, you will see that the whole focus is to get Guyanese out of poverty. Why is it a country can have as much money as Guyana has, and 48% of the people live in poverty? It is unacceptable. But you know why it happens? It happens because the government does not have the political will to put the resources into hinterland community to empower people in the hinterland so that they can do things for themselves. I say to you, your best chance for success and progress is a vote for the PALM, a vote for the APNU. We want to see you develop. We want to ensure that the children in this society get an education that is the equivalent of the education on the coast. You shouldn't have to go to the coast to get an education. You should be able to get an education right here. And we're saying to you, we can use all the tools that are available to us, including the technology, to ensure that your children can get quality education. You know, you could have $1 million and lose it. You can have $1 billion and lose it. But when you get a sound education, you don't lose it. And one of the best investment in our people is investment in education. And we will invest in your education. We want to see villages that can do things for themselves. We want to see villages with small businesses contributing to the development of the village. You know, I hear people say, oh, you can't do that. I'm going to tell you why it could be done. We will develop a business education program in which we teach young people, particularly in this country, to manage money. We want to also teach them to manage a small business. Unless there are programs to make business people in indigenous community, we are not going anywhere. And we intend to ensure there's the development of an indigenous people's business class. That's a commitment.
That's right.
We have said that we will ensure that there is sustainable agriculture in every region. One of the things I engaged persons on my last visit to the Rupununi was in this question of how do we solve the problem of when it is the rainy weather, it is too much rain. And when it is the dry weather, there is no water. That for me is a critical issue for us to address in the Rupununi. And we said to you, we have engaged some people, professional people, who have said to us it could be done. We need to create a network of reservoirs to store the water in the rainy season and put a network in place to distribute it when there is no rain. It has to go side by side with a proper drainage system so that we can avoid flooding. And I said to you, in our first 5 years in government, you will see the emergence of proper drainage as well as irrigation and the establishment of proper reservoirs so you can have water, quality water, when you need it. That for me is one of the commitments we will make to the indigenous people. I see GWI has a sign that says water is life, but they don't apply it to real life. We have got to ensure that you have access to potable water. We want to see as well the development of agriculture in all these regions. A region is supposed to be able to feed itself. Why should food be coming from the coast at an extremely high cost when we can develop agriculture in the region itself? Aquaponics, for instance. You don't have to do the old agriculture with a set of hard labor. There are modern approaches to agriculture which will allow you to produce the things you need in this society. And we are saying to you, we are committed to ensuring that you become involved in modern agriculture. Because when you are feeding yourself, you will be independent. Anybody who has to depend on others for their food, in trouble. We want to see you feed yourself. We want to see you house yourself. Housing for us is critical. We have made it clear that we are aware that a lot of people do not have the resources to build a house. And across the country, we have said we will build houses for the people of Guyana. They will pay rent. And when the rent covers the cost of the house will become yours. That is what we call our rent-to-own scheme. We will develop rent-to-own schemes so that you, the people, can not just get homes, but get modern homes with the facilities that are needed. We believe that all human beings should be treated equally. We have committed to return Guyana Airways so that it could fly to the interior and help bring down the cost of travel from the coast to the hinterland and back. There was a time in this country when you could have relied on cheap flights from Guyana Airways. Sometimes we forget that the PPP came to government, met the Guyana Airways and destroyed it. And so in large measure, the heavy burden you face in terms of air transport is because of the PPP's incompetence. You might ask yourself, how are we going to do all of these things? They are not difficult. We have what is called a $1.4 trillion budget. And more than 40% of that budget goes to waste and corruption. In this region, you see the high level of corruption. If we can reduce that corruption, there will be resources for you to get a better life. And our intention is to reduce corruption so that the resources from corruption can go to give you housing, water, electricity, education. This government likes to build buildings. They are always building a building. You know why? Every building they build, they can get 30 or 40% kickback on it. So they're really building buildings for you. They are building to make money from themselves. What is the sense of saying you build a hospital, but it has no doctor, it has no nurse, it has no drugs? Then it's a building. It's not a hospital. A hospital is a place where you can go and get medical services. We're saying to you, we're not going to be into the big buildings. We got enough buildings for now. What we will do is ensure we train persons from your community and from other communities so that they can become nurses, doctors, pharmacists, and be able to come back and work in the community. We also intend to ensure that there are proper government living space in the hinterland, so that persons, the skills you might not have at the time of the beginning of our training program, people from the hinterland can come and feel comfortable and work with you. All across Guyana, all across Guyana, there are social problems, all kinds of problems. One of the commitments we'll make to you is that we will train young people from these communities. We will train them in social work. We will train them in psychology so that they understand the problems young people are facing and can help those young people to pull their life together and become good citizens contributing to this country. That is what we have to do. Let us not fool ourselves. The social problems in our society are many. And many parents do not know how to deal with it. We believe as a government, we are obligated to train people to help you to solve the social problems. Because once there are social problems, your community is in trouble. And so our vision is one in which we want to put people first. We want to give people a quality life. We want to do as much as we could so that your society can be safe. We've made it very clear that we will change the leadership in the police force because it is not doing what it should do. We want to have safe communities. And I want to say this. We have no problem with people coming from Venezuela or Brazil. But the people who must come first is you. The lands in these communities must belong to you. And we will provide the resources so that you can develop the lands. We're not against Venezuelans. We're not against Brazilians. We're not against foreigners. But we believe Guyanese must have the right, the first lien on our land, on our resources, so that we can develop as a community. We do not want anybody plundering our resources and you stand up and watch like a government. No. We want to see the resources of this country serve the people of Guyana. And it is our intention to do just that. A lot of times, we hear all these billions of dollars that are being spent. This government speaks, when you ask them about education, they don't tell us how many children from the hinterland pass, how many children from the hinterland are able to move on to university. You know what they tell us? We invest 10 billion in education. We invest 10 billion in health. They talk in money terms. We want to see you impacted in a positive way. We want to see the outcomes we desire. And therefore there are a number of things we intend to do. We intend to establish across the country, including in the hinterland, what is called early childhood education centers, where your children can go and be taught from a very tender age and begin the learning process. Additionally, we will train young people from the community to be early childhood teachers. And I'm not telling you this with theory. Between 2015 and 2020, we built 6 early childhood centers. And we have seen that the children that go to that center do better in school. And so we want to see it in the hinterland, where from birth virtually, a child can be guided in an early childhood center, brought up in the right way, and prepare the pace for their education. We want to see a nursery school that is functioning, but we want to focus particularly on the primary school. We are committing to you that we will fashion the education system in such a way that by the time a child meets the 4th grade, that child must know to read, write, count, reason, and comprehend. Education is aimed at giving children the tools to make them improve their lives. So, I don't want to make lofty promises that are not in reality. I do believe that once we start from the bottom and ensure the training, etc. occur, we will begin the process of ensuring indigenous communities can stand on their own, become sustainable, because they have within them the people who can help them to do that. And it has to be done by you. It has to be done by your leadership. It is our intention to across the country, including the hinterland, do leadership training. If you do not have leaders that are trained, people are going to come from the course and want to determine what you do. But once we train you in leadership, we give you the skills to lead, then you can lead yourselves. Local government, the entire local government system is aimed at preparing people to govern themselves. Why would somebody sit in Georgetown and try to determine what should happen in your community? It shouldn't be. You should be able to determine what is happening in your community. And we want to go back to where we were when we left government in 2020, ensuring that every village has a 5 to 10 years plan to ensure that village develop. And so when you vote for the APNU, you are voting for yourself. When you vote for the APNU, you are voting for your children's future. When you vote the APNU, you are voting for a better life, a quality life. That is all we promise you. We promise you to improve your life, engage you, involve you, so you are part of the process of improving your life and ensuring that you could compete at every level. You know, a lot of times I worry when I see these communities. And let me tell you why. Who are the best swimmers in this country? Huh? Who are the best swimmers in this country? Amerindian indigenous people.
That's right.
You agree?
That's right.
And therefore, it is wrong for there not to be an Olympic-sized swimming pool in this part of the world. We are committing to you. We are committing to you that we will ensure there is an Olympic-sized swimming pool. The provision of coaches so that you could realize this talent that you have. And it is not restricted. It is not restricted to swimming. Last year I was at the school's athletics championship, and 2 young men, I think from the Rupununi, won the cycling race without a race in cycle. What we are saying to you is that we are going to put in place the sports facilities so that you can develop your talents. Anybody, any community, once the environment is created for them to develop, they will develop. And I want to say here to you that we see your ability in sport. And we believe there should be a sports development program for hinterland communities, and you can look forward to that. We believe you should have at least one culture center so that you can develop your rich culture. I have heard indigenous songs with extremely attractive beats, and we should be encouraging the development of that music. And I want to say this to you. We will extend music training to the people of the hinterland. And don't take music training lightly. Your children must do music. Government is obligated to let them do music. The people who are specialists in music tell me that children who do music do better than children who don't. And therefore, when you are deprived of doing music, you are at the same time affecting your education. They give me the science explanation for why when you play music, you do better. They claim one section of the brain thinks and the other one acts. And in music, you both think and act at the same time, and it helps to develop your ability. So what am I saying to you in short measure? Start looking at a wider vision. Stop seeing your present life as the life. Your present life is a function of bad policies and bad projects by the PPP government. Every time you support the PPP, you support your own oppression. Every time you support the PPP, you deprive yourselves of opportunities. And we're saying to you as the APNU, we are going to give you the opportunities you deserve. You're entitled to it, and you must get it. And so we urge you to vote for the APNU. On September 1st, vote for the PALM. At the top will be the general election. You'll put your X next to that PALM. At the bottom, you will be voting for the regional election. You will put your X next to that PALM. So you're voting twice. One time for the general elections and one time for the regional elections. And remember, you will be voting for yourself. You are voting for your children's future. You are voting for a better life. It is not by accident that we say that if Guyana is to grow, the PPP must go. And that is so because the PPP is not using the resources of this country to develop you and your communities. I close by saying to you, we are going to put resources into your community so that you and your community could develop. But to do that, you have to put your X next to the PALM. And we guarantee you, Guyana will grow because the PPP will go. Good evening, and may God bless you.